Koriand'r, Prime Earth. Koriand'r is an alien princess from the planet Tamaran who lived in peace and happiness until her home planet was conquered. Banished from Tamaran, Koriand'r was enslaved and experimented on, granting her extraordinary powers which she used to lead a rebellion and liberate herself and her fellow slaves from their captors. She became known throughout the cosmos as Starfire, and settled on Earth, where she became a member of the superhero teams the Outlaws and the Teen Titans. Origins. Princess Koriand'r was the youngest daughter born to the first house of Tamaran. She lived a happy and peaceful life until her home planet was attacked by the alien conquerors, the Citadel, who operated under the orders of the evil dominators. The Citadel killed Kori's family, with the exception of her older sister Koriand'r, and enslaved the entire population of Tamaran, including Kori. They appointed Koriand'r as the leader of Tamaran, seeking to use her as a figurehead to appease the planet's people. However, in an attempt to take away the people of Tamaran's will to fight back, they forced Koriand'r to publicly banish her sister from the planet. Kori was taken by the Citadel and was the subject of numerous painful experiments. She was discarded in Tamaran, a savage prison populated by aliens from the various planets the Citadel had conquered. The Citadel suspected she would perish quickly, but she survived motivated by her rage. After lashing out against a Citadelian guard, Kori projected huge amounts of energy from her body, and realized the experiments conducted on her had unintentionally given her incredible powers. She was restrained and further experimented on, enslaved and drugged to keep her compliant. Eventually, Kori was forced to work on a slave ship called the SS Starfire, where she met Orn, a rebel Citadelian who had been enslaved by his own people. He showed Kori kindness and love, and smuggled food for her. She began training in secret with Orn, and eventually managed to empower the slaves on her ship to overthrow their captors, leading a rebellion that freed the aliens from their captors. Kori took control of the ship she had been enslaved upon, liberated the people of Tamaran, and became known throughout the galaxy as Starfire. Red Hood and the Outlaws. Kori lived on Earth for some time and used her powers to fight for justice, before suddenly losing her memories. She found herself in her alien ship on an island in the Caribbean, not knowing how she had got there. She lived solemnly until she discovered an injured Jason Todd, who had washed up on the island's shores. Jason reminded Kori of her former lover Dick Grayson, and she decided to use her ship's Tamaranian technology to nurse him back to health. Jason told her of his history as Robin and his superhero identity as Red Hood, and the two quickly grew fond of one another. Jason lived with Kori for a short time until he learned that Roy Harper was scheduled to be put to death as punishment for protesting in Kurak. Jason requested Kori's help in rescuing him, and Red Hood and Starfire succeeded in their mission. The three heroes traveled back to the Caribbean, and Kori and Roy began a sexual relationship. They later decided to band their efforts, forming a mercenary team called the Outlaws. One of the team's earliest adventures led them to encounter an alien hunter named Crux. Crux had targeted Koriand'r after discovering a photograph of her on the internet, and wanted to drain her powers away and gain them for himself. Starfire was attacked by Crux, who used Tamaranian technology against her in an attempt to strip her of her powers. He failed to do so, as Starfire had grown resistant to the technology after the experiments she had undergone by the Citadel, though Crux did severely wound her in the process. Kori was rescued by Arsenal, who managed to fend off Crux while she gathered her strength. Together they overpowered the alien hunter, and Kori was about to kill Crux until she and Roy were forced to retreat after Jason arrived, followed by an angry mob who were intent on chasing him. The team traveled to Gotham City to rescue civilians who were being held hostage in Gotham General Hospital by Jason's former adversary Susie Sue. Shortly afterwards, their ship intercepted a message sent from Alfred Pennyworth to the Batman family, which explained that the Court of Owls had sent multiple Talons loose across Gotham where they were targeting 40 people of interest. The Outlaws decided to stay and help, and attempted to protect one of the court's targets, Mr. Freeze. Starfire and Arsenal were tasked with keeping Freeze safe, while Red Hood pursued the Talon that had been sent for him. The heroes managed to defend Freeze and delivered him to Batgirl before they left Gotham. Return to Tamaran. Kori was awoken to a visit from her friend Orn, who had helped her overthrow her captors when she was a slave. Orn informed her that Tamaran had been taken over by the Blight, a parasitic alien race, and requested she return to her former role as the former commander of the HMSS Starfire to defeat them. Orn teleported Starfire, Red Hood and Arsenal to the ship, however Kori was hesitant to rescue her people once again, feeling that they had never attempted to help her. Roy convinced Kori to fight the Blight, but he was eventually captured by members of the alien race, forcing Starfire to return to her home planet. Kori successfully rescued Roy and was reunited with her sister Koriand'r, who had been forced to work with the Blight to stay alive. The two tearfully reconciled and worked together with the Outlaws to take on the Blight. They succeeded in protecting their home planet, and Koriand'r offered Koriand'r the chance to join her on the throne and rule Tamaran together. Kori kindly declined her offer, choosing to return to Earth with the Outlaws instead. Hellspawn. Koriand'r later found her home planet of Tamaran from being invaded again, this time by the Hellspawn. When the Outlaws arrived on the planet, they discovered that Koriand'r had sided with the Hellspawn in order to ensure the safety of her people and had ensured that Tamaran was spared. Koriand'r was devastated to learn of her sister's apparent betrayal. However, Koriand'r heard her sister's pleas and betrayed Hellspawn, destroying him and nearly killing herself in the process. This led Kori and Roy to break up, though purely out of necessity, as Koriand'r was forced to return to Tamaran to ensure that Koriand'r could get the medical attention she needed. The two shared a kiss, and Koriand'r promised to remember Roy for forever and a day. Key West. Starfire would eventually return to Earth and started to live in Key West, a small coastal town. She desired to experience a normal human life and appeared to have no interest in heroism. She befriended the local sheriff, Stella Gomez, who helped her find a place to live and constantly dealt with Kori's naivete regarding human culture. Kori also got to know Stella's widowed brother, Sol, who happened to bear a striking resemblance to Dick Grayson, and later began dating him. Starfire later met Atlee, a waitress who was secretly a superpowered woman from a civilization living below the Earth's surface. Despite no longer wanting to be a hero, trouble continued to find Kori in her new home and she was forced to defend Key West from various threats. After a trip to Atlee's home, Starfire decided that she should once again use her powers to help others. She left her friends in Key West and tried her hand at being a hero once again. Teen Titans. Inspired by her earlier life as a slave, Starfire had begun investigating a human trafficking ring going on in the East Coast. She managed to locate the base of the operation on an island, but while talking to a person who had information she needed, she was knocked unconscious by an unknown person. She awakened in an unknown location surrounded by the other young heroes Beast Boy, Raven, and Kid Flash. The identity of their captor was revealed to be Robin, who kidnapped Koriand'r and the others with the intention of creating a new team of Teen Titans. Damian then reveals that Ra's al Ghul has sent a team of assassins after them. Justice League Odyssey. Starfire later joined the Justice League Odyssey, a team formed to bring order to the newly created space sector known as the Ghost Sector. Doomsday Clock. After Superman is framed and rendered comatose, Starfire joined the group of heroes heading towards Mars to confront their mysterious enemy. The heroes meet and engage Dr. Manhattan, but they are easily defeated. Infinite Frontier. Starfire, along with her teammates Raven, Beast Boy, Nightwing, Cyborg and Donna Troy formed an academy in honor of Roy Harper to train new Titans. Powers and abilities. Powers. Tamaranian physiology. Koriand'r has green eyes with no pupils, orange skin and fiery hair. When she is using her abilities in full force, her hair seems to glow and react like fire. However, this is simply an illusion. Superhuman strength. Starfire is superhumanly strong and was capable of stopping and holding up an elevator containing both Jason Todd and the obese Suzy Sue. Superhuman durability. Starfire is so durable, she can resist the vacuum of space. Energy projection. Koriand'r can project her starbolts at her opponents in a variety of ways. The energy is burning hot and melts or destroys most metal objects and skin. It is unknown where this energy comes from. Flight. Koriand'r can use her energy to push herself through the sky. This only works when gravity is affecting her, and she cannot fly unaided in space. Superhuman stamina. Linguistic assimilation. Starfire is capable of assimilating other languages through physical contact with another person. She usually chooses to use this power in the form of a kiss. Energy absorption. Self-sustenance. Abilities. Aviation. Koriand'r is highly skilled at piloting alien spacecraft. She stole and refitted the spacecraft she had been enslaved on, the HMSS Starfire, which she became the commander of. Firearms. Koriand'r has been using guns since she was first imprisoned, and has used them against her captors and enemies since. However, she prefers to use her starbolts rather than guns. Hand-to-hand combat. advanced Koriand'r was taught basic combat moves as a young girl and continued to train throughout her enslavement and beyond. Although highly trained, she is prone to brutally attacking her opponents with reckless abandon when she is angered. Swordsmanship. Koriand'r has been seen using swords on a number of occasions. She prefers to use her own fists or her starbolts to weapons, but her skill with swordsmanship once allowed her to chop the hands off an opponent before he could even react. Medicine. Intimidation. Leadership. Tactical analysis. Other characteristics. Drug addiction. Formerly when she was a slave, Kori was addicted to the drugs that were forcefully given to her by her captors. She managed to overcome her addiction, however. Selective amnesia. Formerly. Paraphernalia. Transportation. HMSS Starfire. Destroyed. The Starfire was a former slave spacecraft that was repaired, commandeered, and crewed by Starfire and then used by her to travel through space. If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye bye.